This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Tuesday, the 22nd day of September in the year 2020. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here's what we're tracking tonight. Minister of Home Affairs Robeson Ben this morning defended the use of lethal force at the Luzikan prison by prison guards, telling the National Assembly that the decision was taken to prevent a jailbreak. 2 prisoners were shot dead by prison guards on Saturday during an unrest in the cramped prison facility. The prison service has said the prisoners were trying to break down the main gate when they were shot. Responding to questions posed by the opposition in Parliament today, Minister Ben said the prisoners were acting unruly during their protest. He said guards were attacked and had no other alternative but to open fire on the prisoners, who were charging the gate.
The loss of life is in any event regrettable and sad. But I would have to say that my understanding was that the final perimeter of the prison was under attack and was being besieged along with the prison warders. And they took the measures necessary to make sure that we don't have a resumption of problems we've had in the past in relation to the outbreaks of prison.
The prisoners started their protests over concerns about the spread of coronavirus inside the prison. However, the minister said some prisoners also raised concerns about the long wait for their cases to be called before the courts, with many complaining that they have been on remand for months.
The discussion, which in Bay 2 had revolved around the overarching issues of the prisoners, delays in court hearings and all those other issues. At Bay 1, it degenerated to individualistic issues. Person said things like, I cuffed a man and he dropped down dead and I have been charged for murder. Or me and a man had a fight and I chopped him and he died and I'm in prison for murder. And my case is not being heard and I'm waiting 3 months, 5 years or whatever on remand.
As part of the protest, some prisoners have been refusing their meals. During a Saturday visit to the facility, the Minister of Home Affairs along with the Minister of Health were forced to cut short their visit as the prisoners became hostile towards them. But the Home Affairs Minister also blasted the previous government today for not completing the various rebuilding and expansion projects at the prisons following the major fires that claimed lives at the Camp Street Jail.
On becoming a minister and seeing the conditions at the Luzikan prison, I said that we must get the contractors to immediately restart the works at the Camp Street prison. So, in terms of the causes, original, prior, overarching, they relate to the issues which happened at the Camp Street prison and more latterly at the Luzikan prison at the burning of its day. And I might remind that at the Camp Street prison, 17 prisoners died immediately and then 1 later, in terms of the fire and the results of what the occurrence there.
The state of the prisons in Guyana has come under heavy criticism over the years, with some persons saying the situation amounts to human rights abuses. More news coming up in a moment.
For all the Zoom hashouts and recipe tryouts, the world changed and we were right there, standing with you, always near, getting closer in so many ways, laughing together as we face these days. And because we are Caribbean, we've got a special insight that tells us there's no need to worry, world. We'll be all right.
The government of Guyana invites supermarkets and shops in all regions to submit expressions of interest to supply items for the COVID-19 Public Assistance Program Phase 2. Applicants must demonstrate capacity to supply canned and bottled food products, dry and fresh rations valued between $25,000 to $32,000 per voucher, have adequate space in their business as per COVID-19 guidelines, or for sanitation facilities. Interested applicants can uplift the expression of interest form and selection criteria from the Civil Defense Commission in Georgetown or at your nearest regional executive officer's office between 9 to 15 hours, or request by email at pavpgy@gmail.com. Kindly deposit completed forms on or before 9 hours September 30, 2020, along with copies of valid business registration or certificate of incorporation and NIS and GRA compliance into the tender box at the National Procurement and Tender Administration, Main and Urquhart Streets, Georgetown. These must be in a sealed envelope, clearly marked expression of interest to supply items under the COVID-19 Voucher Assistance Program Phase 2. No expression of interest will be accepted by email. The Civil Defense Commission reserves the right to accept or reject.
Falls, the official distributors of Castrol Marine, Mining and Power Gen lubricants in Guyana, now has in stock CRB engine oils, high-spin hydraulic oil, Vecton semi-synthetic truck oils, and Sultex cylinder oils. For the best prices, check our dealers countrywide or visit Falls Gas Station at Land of Canaan, East Bank, Demerara, or call the commercial manager on 608-4998. Castrol, it's more than just oil, it's liquid engineering.
Guyana, we've been through it all.
But as a people we have
Weathered every storm and risen to every challenge.
Because it is the people of Guyana
That gives it its strength.
all the people,
Regardless of race,
class or religion.
we are one people, one strength.
And now is our time. A time to rise. Together, we rise.
Mobil Special and all other Mobil lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Mobil Special and all other Mobil lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Welcome back. Let's tell you now that the number of inmates in the Luzikan jail testing positive for coronavirus has jumped to 140 as more tests are being carried out at the prison. Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony has indicated that the prisoners who have tested positive are no longer in the general population at the prison.
We went in, we were able to screen a number of persons. We actually, I think, did take samples from about 200 persons or so who are in the prison, and of those about 120 persons were tested positive. We have since isolated those persons, so they're no longer in the general population. They're separate from the other persons in the prison, and we are going to observe them to see whether or not they develop any further signs and symptoms. And once they have passed the 10 days plus 3, they're going to be discharged. If any one of them develop further symptoms, depending on what they develop, we are going to treat accordingly.
As news source reported last evening, the inmates who have tested positive have been moved to a government facility outside of Georgetown. They will remain isolated there until they make a full recovery. In the National Assembly today, the Minister of Home Affairs, Robson Ben, also spoke about the situation of coronavirus in the prison system.
At the moment, the total number of prisoners who are infected with COVID are 140 persons. We have moved 80 of them to Madawini location with the appropriate security from the police, the prisons, and the army. We were, at the very time that the incident happened at Luzikan, we were expanding an area to the east of the Luzikan prison to put up tents and put in place cots and new beds for the social distancing in relation to those who would have been left behind. That work was peremptorily stopped as a result of the events on Saturday. It was resumed yesterday morning. It is on the way.
The first two cases at the prison were recorded last week, and since then the Ministry of Health and the prison service have been putting measures in place to stop the spread. A team of doctors and nurses has since been dispatched to complement the medical team at the Luzikan prison. Guyana recorded another COVID-19 related death today, taking the total number of deaths to 68. In a statement, the Ministry of Health revealed that the latest fatality is a 74-year-old woman from Region 1. The last 3 COVID-19 related deaths that have been reported in the past 2 days are all from Region 1. The same Bahamas region has also recorded a number of other deaths. The Ministry of Health reported today that the country has recorded a total of 35 new cases as of midnight Monday. There are now 830 persons in home isolation, while 163 persons are in institutional isolation, all COVID-19 positive. A total of 1,361 persons have made full recoveries since the pandemic was first reported in Guyana back in March. During today's consideration of the budget estimates, the Minister of Amerindian Affairs, Pauline Sukai, was grilled on an $800 million allocation to the Amerindian Fund, which she said is to be disbursed under the ministry's Community Development and Empowering Program. However, with no clear answers being provided on how the money will be disbursed, the APNU-AFC said it could not provide support for the budgeted sum. But using its majority and along with the support of the Joint List representative, Lennox Schumann, the budgeted sum was approved to form part of the estimates. In a statement on its decision, the APNU-AFC said it believes the fund is being used as a decoy for the misuse of state funds, and the country's indigenous people will lose out. Today, opposition member of parliament Jermaine Figuera repeatedly asked the minister to state how many of the 16 indigenous communities in Region 10 will benefit from the fund. The minister said she will provide the information at another time. The opposition MP continued to press for his question to be answered, but the speaker eventually ended the questioning after the 1-hour limit for questioning expired. The opposition coalition said the country's indigenous peoples deserve transparency and accountability, and they also deserve better than what the party calls mischievous tactics to address their needs. In the world of business, the Guyana Oil Company recorded $2.5 billion in profit last year, which represents a 63% increase in the profits when compared to 2018. The company held its shareholders meeting today, and it was also announced that it paid $900 million as dividends to its shareholders in 2019. Guyana is a state-owned company. Meanwhile, the company's Aviation Services Incorporated also recorded a net profit of $86.7 million, which represented a 40% increase in profits when compared to the previous year. New Guyana Chairman Paul Chang commended the company and its subsidiary GASI for the success in 2019. He encouraged both companies to improve the delivery of their services for a more efficient and vibrant organization. The company's Chief Executive Officer, Renata Exeter, joined the company in 2018 and immediately started a restructuring and marketing plan that appears to have paid off heavily for the company. News source understands that Ms. Exeter is likely to leave the company later this year. Well, an early morning robbery attempt at a Scotiabank ATM in the Courtyard Mall on Robb Street has left a group of bandits empty-handed. The bandits reportedly made their way into the Scotiabank ATM facility after breaking into a barber shop that is located just next door at around 4 a.m. on Sunday. According to police sources, the bandits made a hole through the concrete wall and gained access to the facility at the back of the ATM machine that would contain the money safe. However, getting the safe open might have proven more difficult than expected, and using a welding torch, the masked bandits attempted to cut open the ATM machine, but that too failed. There was no security guard on duty at the Courtyard Mall at the time, and it was a guard posted at a nearby business who noticed the commotion and raised an alarm. The men bolted from the compound of the Courtyard Mall, leaving a well-secured but damaged ATM machine behind. The cameras of the ATM facility were damaged, but one that is located directly in the machine itself might have captured a robbery attempt. The bank has closed the facility as the investigation is taking place. Across the region is coming up next. Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc.
We all know a strong educational foundation is a key to successful learning. Global Technology combines award-winning curriculum with innovative technology and teacher support to help students reach their potential. Our online platform creates an engaging learning experience. Using any device, you can be a part of amazing class discussions, collaborate with others, and have access to virtual learning software. With our multiple payment methods, you will never have to leave home. Find out how Global Technology can allow you to learn anything, anywhere, at any time.
Falls, the official distributors of Castrol Marine, Mining and Power Gen lubricants in Guyana, now has in stock CRB engine oils, high-spin hydraulic oil, Vecton semi-synthetic truck oils, and Sultex cylinder oils. For the best prices, check our dealers countrywide or visit Falls gas station at Land of Canaan, East Bank, Demerara, or call the commercial manager on 608-4998. Castrol, it's more than just oil, it's liquid engineering.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right. Walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong. Be the one to live right.
Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Across the region right now, police in the Bahamas seized more than $3 million worth of marijuana on Monday during a joint operation involving the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, the U.S. Coast Guard, and other U.S. law enforcement agencies. The authorities said the seizure came after drug runners were engaged in a high seas chase that ended off the coast of the Bahamas, leaving one officer in hospital. The police said that a joint operation was launched after a team conducting surveillance along the Ragged Island chain came upon a speedboat with 4 occupants on board. They said that the vessel was asked to stop, but the captain failed to comply and the chase ensued. An official told reporters that the chase lasted more than an hour and the persons on the boat loaded with contraband items rammed the police boat in an effort to escape. The police said that the suspects are all Bahamians and that the 2 men who were injured during the operations are receiving medical attention. CARICOM leaders have joined their global counterparts in adopting a declaration honoring the multilateral framework put in place by the United Nations founders in 1945. The leaders have also pledged to better live out the promise to save succeeding generations from the scourge of war. On Monday, the CARICOM leaders said in the declaration that the world is plagued by growing poverty, hunger, terrorism, climate change, and now the epic onset of the coronavirus pandemic. They said that people are forced to make dangerous journeys in search of safety. And in the declaration that least developed countries, such as some in the Caribbean, are falling behind. They said the challenges are interconnected and can only be addressed through reinvigorated multilateralism. Acknowledging that COVID-19 caught them off guard, the world leaders agreed that it has served as a wake-up call for improving preparedness. And finally tonight, international news. Tensions between the U.S. and China came to the fore of the annual UN General Assembly in New York, with U.S. President Donald Trump blaming China for the spread of coronavirus. He called for China to be held accountable for the pandemic. In his speech, Chinese President Xi Jinping said his country had no intention to enter a Cold War with any country. Ties between the two world powers are strained on a number of fronts. This year's summit at New York is largely being held virtually, with world leaders providing pre-recorded speeches. The new format meant some of the geopolitical theater normally on offer at a key UN meeting was absent. Each country was represented by a single delegate, and there was little opportunity for one nation to rebut another. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting.